In this video, I'm going to share with you 4 very simple organizing questions surrounding your physical pain, and then 3 alchemical, powerful questions to instantly dispel your suffering and reorganize your auric grid lines. My name is Crystal Curtis. I'm so happy you're here. I offer intuitive energy readings, and we're in the middle of a series for high achievers that will move you from I'm stuck and burned out to I can read, feel, and tend to my own energy. The reason I started this YouTube channel is because I got a download from God last year. It was just a real clear voice that said, you will use your hands for energy work. And then it said dot, but not massage, which I was grateful for because I've been in a lot of chronic pain for about 5 years. And I knew that working on someone else's body physically like that would be just physically impossible for me and very imbalancing. But I love a good massage and I love giving massages and I know the power of it, but I just didn't know what it meant to do energy work. So I followed the path of Reiki until I met my teacher who really lit me up about the path of intuitive energy readings. And since I already knew that I had seen auras, I see people glow gold. That's the yellow brick road that you want to follow when something lights you up, literally like a light bulb, because we're talking about energy here, and to move away from things that literally drain you like a power outage. So this all seems like a normal path for me as a visual artist because I enjoy seeing colors, and I'm going to give intuitive energy readings until somebody's liver starts talking to me. So why I'm starting a YouTube channel is literally to help this pain and the overuse injury in my neck because I lift paintings all day. I do a lot of the installations myself, and I have for the last 7 years. And I really overdid it in 2021, but for whatever reason, I just haven't been able to get back to a pain-free state all these years. And I'm certainly done with the whole negative story of it. So the channel is a creative opening to test what we all know about the auric field, that you want to take energy in to make space for new subatomic particles to cancel the signal of pain and to even miraculously dissolve the scar tissue that's there after so many years. So how exciting is that? If you have an acute or chronic illness or pain and you don't want to see one more doctor or one more clinician about it, stick around and we'll transmute the suffering together. So these are really 4 basic questions that can help you understand the playing field of your pain. And number 1 is identify the discomfort in your body or life. So I'll use mine as an example. I've got this chronic illness in my neck. It goes up into my occipital lobe and literally just feels like it shuts down creativity because when you're messing with the center control here, it's just like white noise and it's really hard to function. Chronic pain, you might relate, you start isolating, you say no to life, you can't even sit across the table from somebody at a dinner table because you're just focusing on how to just get comfortable in your body. And it's really quite miserable. And also, you just don't know when it's going to end because you have a good attitude about it. And the next day, and you wake up in so much pain, you can't even believe you got a few hours of sleep that night. And it just seems to go on and on. That's why we call it chronic. But what if we can transmute that with energy work? So where is the discomfort in your body or life? How long have you known about it? This is question number 2. So for me, I wondered why it started so correlating with me starting at the art gallery in 2019. And I had another quick job before that when I moved back to Southern California from New York City. I had never experienced this type of physical pain in New York City, and I hadn't experienced it my first 2 years in Southern California, but it seemed to be almost instant. Like 3 months into being at the gallery was when my spine just kind of collapsed. So that's how long I've known about it. What is it saying about you? Question number 3. What is it saying about you? It said I might be addicted to pain. Is there something in me that doesn't want to feel resolved or relaxed? Has this been some type of major defense mechanism to keep me just in my own lane, in my own universe, not really with an extended social community because I've had to say no to so many things. It's been hard to drive long distances, hard to get on a plane, hard to sit at a dinner table. And I might have just said no. Maybe it was all this magical defense mechanism against life. And what have you done about it? Well, I certainly got resentful when I realized I was possibly spending up to $10,000 a year on different clinicians. There was a myofascial release clinician in town who was $250 per session. I might have kept going, except that he talks a lot during his session. I just didn't want to hear him talk a lot. And the fact that I was going to see him and not really getting lasting relief, I was just in this sort of pain spiral that really lasted for a long time. I successfully saw a personal fitness trainer online on Zoom for a year, and I did see that like my spine was compressed, like my shoulder and my hips were smashed into each other. So through her work, through resistant band training, I was able to straighten my spine a little, yet the pain signals still happen there. And then, of course, I started asking for help at work. So where I used to just do everything myself, now with big paintings, I ask my colleague who's a male to help more. And I bring art handlers on site with me more. Even though my body says that I can do it all myself, I believe that the energetics of asking for help is my medicine. And then number two, expressing my truth through speaking more in this way. That's why we're here at this YouTube channel. So thank you for being here. I believe these 4 questions can help you get to the root cause of your pain to show that you've taken some action and not just sat back and be a victim, which will really keep you in a chronic state. If you answer these 4 questions honestly, you'll find out how much you disregard the best tool you have available to keep yourself healthy, happy, and wise, and that is your own intuition. Any discomfort in your body, life, it's a direct message to see for yourself how out of alignment you are. I believe that, and that's why we're here together right now. So, what if we took these basic questions to the next level? These to me are 3 alchemical questions that will really transmute the pain and get to that kind of absurd level of existential existence. Okay, number 1 is in the Bible. And I have to tell you that God started talking to me when I was 14 years old. And a lot of what I know from the intuitive hits of that still small voice is through a Christian lens. And I came to God on my own with the help of my sister, but I did not grow up in a religious family. So my relationship with God is not within church hurt. It's actually a very pure and beloved relationship I have with God. Now, it was through my path in the arts as an art historian when I got introduced to Buddhism and Hinduism that I found that prayer life got expanded through these other traditions. And I do get excited when the Bible shows me a clear instruction manual. But I almost wanted the Bible to end. When a year ago I was in this small group at church I was trying to go to, I'm still trying it out. Basically, in the very beginning in the Garden of Eden, when God made woman out of man, it says in the 2nd chapter of Genesis, and the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed. But then just moments later, right after they ate from the tree, Genesis 3 says, they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. Then the Lord God called to the man and said to him, where are you? And he said, I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself. And he said, who told you you were naked? Then it says, have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat? Now, I'm kidding. I still get goosebumps to this day rereading this line from the very beginning of the Bible. God says, who told you you were naked? The whole creation story is one of unity and not of separation. Original sin isn't the disobedience to me, but it's the distortion that we are separate from God. And honestly, if Adam just snapped out of it in that second and took his clothes back off and said, you're right, God, we wouldn't be living in this world of contrast and duality that we are now. The Bible could have ended there. Quite honestly, who told you you were naked? We were never separate from God, and He didn't create us as such. And yet we're living in this distortion that we have to hide from our own Creator. As my yoga teacher, Mark Whitwell, likes to say, you and God are not separate. You and the sun are not separate. He says, you are one thing happening. I direct an art gallery in Southern California, and I have a lot of responsibility there. I'm in charge of a sales team. I'm responsible for producing revenue at the gallery. And we're in this sales of welcoming a guest into the gallery and turning that warm hello into a $10,000 sale. So I understand body language, but I also believe that art has a living aura, that it is necessary to reflect on beauty, and it's amazing to take in information, a picture, a color, a brushstroke, and have it bring you to tears. How it can transform a space in your own home, or how it can codify your relationship. These are all gorgeous things to me about the fine art industry. And so I take it very seriously. So I read body language, and I've become good at reading body language and calling people out, for instance, when they ask for unreasonable discounts on art. And I also call people out when they have distorted views of themselves. There's something that has happened that I didn't really understand when I first started, because I wouldn't have experienced this in New York City, where we're just more art conscious there. But in the Southern California gallery, the gallery shows a lot of hyper realistic paintings. It's paintings that look like a photograph. And over and over, I hear people come in and it's almost like they can't look at it because they say, oh, the talent, and oh, I can't even draw a stick figure. And by looking at something beautiful, it puts them into the distortion of their lack of creativity. It puts them into a place of lack. It's a really tragic and heartbreaking thing for me to witness. And so one of my jobs at the gallery is, when I witness that, to almost play therapist or energy worker, and to uplift that person who has a distorted relationship to themselves in the presence of fine art, which should uplift you. It just shows the separation that that person has from the flow of creativity. And that is a birthright. And it's a God-given gift from someone we call the creator. So you have the ability to create because you are created. And I have fundamentally latched onto that, which has kind of kept me on the visual art path my whole adult life. So suffering is separation. I fundamentally believe that's the root of all of our suffering, is believing the distortion that we are separate than the creator, than the sun, that we're not one thing happening. And we have dualistic language of me and you to describe this place, my auric field and your auric field, when we know that it's all interconnected through subatomic particles that cannot be destroyed. Who told you you were naked? That's number one, my most important alchemical question to dispel suffering and the pain that you're living in, especially if it's chronic. Number two, I'm going to move through this one very quickly, but I was at a yoga and kirtan festival in Joshua Tree near where I live in Southern California. And Deepak Chopra was there, which was a really big deal. It was the 10-year anniversary of this festival that Ram Dass had started. And it was 2019. So the year later, there was no Bhakti Festival because of the pandemic. But to celebrate their 10 years, they brought the big guns in, and Deepak Chopra was a keynote speaker at this otherwise, very small, desert, dusty yoga festival. And I really don't remember any of what he said in his 20, 30-minute speech, but I do remember one question he asked, which has stuck with me forever as a way to flip a challenging situation around. And that was, ask yourself, who is asking the question? I was really floored by that. Who is asking the question? Who is asking the question is such an important way to get outside of yourself, but without the harmful escape routes of disassociation or substance abuse. Who is asking the question? Who is in pain? It's a beautiful, freeing, sort of wide scope, 40,000-foot view, looking down and realizing that your problems are really, really small compared to the vast creation of the universe. And therefore, it can be overcome. It can be transmuted. So who told you you were naked? Who is asking the question? And my last one I'm coming back to is the work of Byron Katie, who invented the work. If you don't know Byron Katie, she's an American spiritual teacher, author, and speaker known for creating The Work, a powerful self-inquiry method using 4 questions and a turnaround to question stressful thoughts and find inner freedom, stemming from her own recovery from severe depression and self-loathing in 1986. I love this method of self-inquiry because it gets right to the point. And her question is it true? I have neck pain. Is it true? I have chronic pain from an overuse injury at work. Is it true? Am I self-identifying with the pain? Is the pain even there, or is it just a signal that I'm attached to? Am I addicted to this feeling so that I can tell myself to become separate from others by isolating myself? Is it true? This is really interesting, and I'd really like to hear by asking these questions what you come up with as you're addressing your pain, your anger. These are all the distorted thought patterns that live in the mental and emotional auric field. And if you like what you're hearing, let me give you an intuitive energy reading. Intuitive energy readings can help high achievers reveal blind spots that might be keeping you attached to physical and emotional weights that are dragging you down. So we can transmute these things, we can reorganize and restructure the grid lines of your auric field so that you can be in coherence with those that you are relating to and the dreams and desires that you have that are waiting for you in the coherent field. I created a simple link to get you to the reservation page called crystalpraysforyou.com. It's in the link in this video, and it's very simple. Right after you make the reservation, you'll instantly be taken to a page where it's a secure voice recording messaging system. Just ask your question there. You have a few minutes available to talk, and your voice actually helps me tune in. And then I'll be able to respond within 48 hours. And this is a nice way to detach from the calendar. Since I have a full-time job, I just want to know I'm in a peaceful place in order to do the reading for you. And so that's why we do it not live, but in this audio recorded service. It's really cool. Recently, I worked with a woman and I just smelled alcohol coming out of the top of her head. And I said, are you or someone you know have an alcohol addiction? And she said, yes, my troubled relationship with my mother. And this became the instant reason why I had already felt lava coming out of her womb. And I asked if she had endometriosis, and she said yes. And it felt just like molten hot lava there. And we know that for women, anger resides in the womb and is directly correlated with mother wounds. So by identifying these patterns, we can get to the root cause of the illness and find healing there. Come see me in the next video where we identify the 3 aura types of anxious high achievers. Let's get into it.